So we open at the University of Ithaca, not a real place.
Oh.
Well, the college. I mean, Ithaca,
the
New
town.
York. Ithaca, New York has two colleges. It has Ithaca College and Cornell University.
Oh.
This movie's pulling a fast one on us, saying this is the University of Ithaca.
I will say it. I think it's supposed to I'm already short circuiting. It's supposed to tell us they're in a good college. There's nothing. That's the vibe. It's like, okay, you guys aren't like the super achieving people, but you're in a fine college.
Sure, you're in a fine college, and Josh's girlfriend Tiffany went to the University of Austin. Not a real thing. It's a stand-in for the University of Texas. This movie's again pulling a fast one on us, and the opening flyover of a college is Harvard. That's not the University of Ithaca at all. But yeah, we meet Tom Green giving
Well, now I'm not sure that I'm reading it right. I always read it as like kind of funny that they're Ithaca. Like, who gives a shit? But if they used Harvard, that does make me think we're supposed to. Because I was just gonna say it never really fit that his roommate is a genius. Like, well, then why are you there?
No, I mean, I think they're supposed to be like, I went to LSU. This seems like it's an LSU. Like, it's good. And also they party there.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad we got stuck on literally the flyover this time.
So Tom Green is giving a tour to a bunch of prospective students. Ethan Suplee is one of the students. He doesn't get to do anything funny. But Tom Green's getting stuff wrong. Like, he's like, on that building right there was built in the 1600s. And a girl's like, no, it wasn't. It was built in 1951. He was like, shut up, bitch.
Tom.
And the students are getting annoyed. They're like, does anything interesting ever happen here? And he's like, one time it did, and I'll tell you the story.
Like, what kind of tours have these kids been on at schools? Tell us about all the dead people. Tell us about how much you bone. You're with your parents. I'm literally supposed to show you around campus.
Right. What are they actually
asking? This isn't
asking?
a haunted memories tour. This isn't a fucking vampire tour. What? I'm sorry. These are things that happen in New Orleans. Maybe that's not normal city stuff.
Hey, did you go on a tour of colleges? Did you go on a tour of UNO, University of New Orleans?
I did all of it on my own.
No, I know you did, but did
I went to orientation. They just tell you about stuff from the cafeteria where, wherever the hall.
Yeah, me too.
There was no tour.
This is for perspective. Yeah.
This is for people who have options. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of want you to sell them. So maybe that is our hint that this is like a D school.
It is a D school.
Yeah. It's like a Tulane.
Or like an LSU, like I said.
No,
that's not a D school. No. Yeah, well, one time something cool did happen here, and I'll tell you all about it. So now we enter the actual narrative of the movie of Tom Green's friend Josh. And Josh is Breckin Meyer, and we get some Wonder Years opening credits footage of Josh and his best friend Tiffany from when they were kids. And they were, they started as friends, but they grew into so much more with lots of heavy petting. And even their dogs started dating. We see footage of their dogs fucking each other.
That's good TV right there.
But Josh went to the University of Ithaca while Tiffany went to the University of Austin. And long-distance relationships, they're not so easy, are they? We see Tiffany over in Austin. She's in the quad, and she's about to have sex with a guy by a tree, but it turns out it's just Josh's dream because he's a little paranoid. He hasn't heard from his girlfriend in a little while, and he's like, what's going on? Something's up with you.
If he could have only held on a little longer. Cell phones, my guy, those were coming. I'm sorry, cell phones, my friend. Those were coming to you.
I think even in 1999, they'd be using cell phones,
Beepers.
or they'd be using AIM or
AIM.
Yeah, but I think this is clearly written by a person who's like 10 years older, and it's like, you dial your Miss Lady friend at her dorm room, and you miss her, and you get the roommate.
This movie might be the last time you can use this as a plot device. Mm-hmm. And we did lose a whole genre of movies once cell phones were a thing.
Yeah, now it'd be text messaging, and text bubbles would pop up on the screen. You know what you do?
What I mean.
You know what a movie should show?
What?
You know what a movie should show is when the text message shows on screen and you see someone typing, and then you see their response and you see the 3 dot bubbles. You should see that, and then it should go away.
Yeah, that's
a movie should do that.
Wow. Okay. Is this a trope that is bothering you right now?
I've noticed it's a trope. Yes.
Okay. God.
It's always like, hey, isn't it so bad when you see somebody's typing and then they stop typing?
You know how many times I've typed the letter B and then noticed an hour later, and I'm like, I'll bet they think I have been thinking
something good's coming,
and then it's deleted to the nothing at all, and it's like, what did they want to say to me?
What?
I wanted to say the letter B.
Type your texts in the notes app. That's what I say.
Oh, it's an extra step.
So yes, let's. I guess, can you tell us about the core gang of folks we have here, Lacey?
They've got it's unclear when they became friends. I think they are just friends from college. One of them's a roommate. We've got cool guy, average guy who's pretty cool, smart guy, weird burnout strange guy, and nerd. Those are our 5 archetypes here. And then we've got Beth, who huge campus, but can't help run into this guy she's got a crush on. Totally into our main character guy.
All right, I guess I shouldn't have asked because you don't know names of anybody.
Yeah, what are you trying to get me to do
so
here?
Josh is Breckin Meyer, and when I said I didn't like Breckin Meyer, Lacey was like, "What?" I mean, he strikes me as a little bit of an Andrew McCarthy type.
Just like saying you don't like vanilla. You need vanilla. Then where else are you going to put all the chocolate and the sprinkles? Is where you need the vehicle. He's a vehicle.
Vanilla is more than a vehicle. Vanilla is a flavor. It's a good flavor of its own.
I think he's a good
Look,
flavor.
I was a little hard on Breckin Meyer watching it a second time. I think he has some good jokes, but he is just kind of the delivery vessel of this movie. But he's a handsome guy, and yes, it makes sense that Amy Smart has a crush on him.
He can't be a charm bomb because then there's no like risk. Like you needed to be a little bit unclear of like how wanted is he by the girlfriend that might be breaking up with him, cheating on him, or is madly in love with him. He needs to be able to be both. And then this other girl, she going to like throw her hands up and like, you're not worth it. If he's too good, then you're just thinking they would be fools. If this, for instance, were played by Ryan Reynolds, if this were Ryan Reynolds instead, I know there's a movie called Van Wilder. So if he were that charming, you'd be like, you don't care about the girls. There's no drama here. He'll get someone. He'll land on his feet. You need Breckin Meyer. He's an every guy.
Your argument is always like the movie needs this person to be boring and not a good actor.
That is a thing.
That's not true.
That doesn't make sense, Matt, because you've got it's a more balanced way of letting each character have the floor. I'm correct.
You are not.
Directors,
this is so wrong. This is no. That is an excuse. It's hey, the funny people wouldn't be as funny if you didn't have this non-funny person.
That's true.
But that's a different thing than what I'm
then
saying.
Why did you just say it?
Breckin Meyer is Josh. Amy Smart is Beth, and she likes him, and she's making the moves on him. But he's like, but I.
Is there also an Elizabeth Smart?
Yeah, she's the one who got kidnapped.
Oh, well then she's the one I just found out is like a real angel, like actual really nice. It turns out our friend Hot Dog, his sister, is in the movie industry. She does transportation for local movies, and he gave me a list of all the people that she said are really, really nice.
And Amy Smart is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, now you know Amy Smart is nice.
Nice. She's an angel.
I like to hear that.
You can tape her having sex.
I liked her.
She's got a nice butt.
I like her in this movie. I like her in The Butterfly Effect.
Let me double check.
Surely like her in other things.
The Butterfly Effect. That's where I know her.
All right, Seann William Scott is EL. What? Just a bad name to have in your movie.
It is odd
because it's initials ELE. You just want something something that pops a little, something a little more consonant-y. You know? How about Fred? Mm-hmm. So his best friend EL is like you got to give up on your girlfriend Tiffany, dude. You're in separate area codes anyway. It doesn't matter. Start having sex. You're in college. You only live once. Seann William Scott, this is 1 year after American Pie, which is his feature film debut. He's like probably the breakout of that movie.
It's Elizabeth Banks.
Okay, well.
Take it back.
Amy Smart.
Probably a total asshole.
I heard Amy Smart's a fucking Nazi. Just kidding. So American Pie 1999, and he's probably the breakout of the young cast, and then Final Destination like comes right after that, and it's weird to watch Final Destination because he's in it, but he's like the 10th most important character.
Who?
Seann William Scott.
He's in those movies?
He's in the first movie.
Doesn't seem like
he dies. He has an unceremonious death, and it's interesting because he's not playing
wasted.
He's playing a not a nerd, but he's just not playing cool guy.
I can
Seann William
picture him,
Scott.
and I think that's a waste of what he adds. Yeah.
But it's like that movie probably was produced before American Pie was released. Mm-hmm. It's like that kind of thing. Like, oh, we didn't realize yet what your deal is.
Sure, totally. Like before they knew exactly what to do with Will Ferrell.
And then this is third. Dude, Where's My Car is after this, Evolution, and then American Pie 2. What a run. Legendary run from Seann William Scott in the early 2000s.
It takes a hell of a run to really support three names. Like I can't. Maybe one day I'll remember all your names, but
especially with Seann, first name is 2 N's. Seann, Seann.
I'm really not going to commit it to memory.
Yeah, it's like Gregory, but it's not like you're Seanery.
Oh my God.
What are you doing with that extra N? Or Seanifer?
Just in case.
I assume a Seann Scott is also registered with SAG or something, and that's why it's Seann William Scott.
I did want to point out, did you have a point? You were talking about rules, area codes. Sorry, I was looking on my phone when you were saying these things. But I want to say that just like with like Scream started to lay out these, it was an interesting approach to have someone tell us the rules of something.
Yeah.
That I feel like other movies try to do this too. And I want to say there's rules in American Pie for long distance relationships, for what counts as cheating. And I remember thinking that this movie doesn't do it felt like he was trying to make something stick.
It's trying to develop a runner, and they bring it back a couple times. Like, this isn't landing.
It's not landing. It's not funny. And it's very of its time to be celebrating, like, how do we cheat on babes?
Yeah, what are the loopholes? Does it count as cheating if you're doing this?
I just don't have a committed relationship.
So you think that Hollywood took note and they're like, Scream made a lot of money because it has rules.
I just think people think that they're going to have like a clever little, you don't know what's going to catch on. It was a dud. Mm-hmm. It's not interesting. And I don't know when Ludacris's Hoes and Different Era Codes came out, but I can't, chicken or the egg. We'll never know which came first.
There's no way to know.
There's no way to know.
It's just one of those things. Yeah. So Beth, she's very into Josh. She's being stalked by Jacob Anthony Rapp, and he's like the TA in Josh's philosophy class. We find out Josh
tits and ass.
Here's the stakes of this movie. Josh needs a B+ in his philosophy class, or else he'll lose his financial aid. He better do a good on his exam.
This is another weakness of this movie. It feels like it's trying to have these types of people, and it's like close. Like I don't even find the stalker nerd all that menacing or all that interesting or all that like devishly fun to watch be bad. And then you've got even the professor. I feel like they're trying to do a type here with the professor. This sort of wise black man who's kind of aloof as well. It's like it's all just like
it seems like it's
a little
like,
deflated.
It's half baked. This Josh, the Anthony Rapp character, he has a T-shirt that wears like that says like "I love God" or "God is awesome," and he's like a tyrant. He uses his TA powers to be tyrannical and get revenge over all those who have wronged him.
Goes nowhere.
But there is like a weird dilemma. Well, we'll talk through it when we get to the sex scene. But then this lady auction happens at the fraternity house.
Again, huge campus, lots of activities. But we can't stop these two from running into each other. I always think it's a little too convenient. Everybody ends up at the same party. And this is an annual party, apparently, because they often have a lady auction. I don't understand who the money goes to. Is this for charity?
It's just for them.
But like, it's such a known thing that there's even rules for it, which is that, look, and I think this is nice for the time. You get to access their company with this money, but you do not... That doesn't mean you get to have sex. Haha, I sure tried. That didn't work. Beth realizes that the stalker guy is going to bid on her and she'll have to spend, 10 minutes, Beth? Really? Are you going to like follow rules? He's going to file a complaint. So she runs and she finds her love interest and is like, just bet on me. Just figure it out. Just beat his money. I know you don't have any, but do it. She could have offered him like a check or something. And then she's auctioned off and... What is his fucking name, Sean? Paul?
Josh
is helped out by his friend EL, by him pretending he can't hear the higher bid from the scary guy. And Beth goes to Josh. Yeah, now their romance can begin.
Yes, because she's like, thanks for bidding for me. And he's like, don't I get a reward? She's like, would you like your reward now?
How many times do you want it? Let's pound. I mean, they really spend no time socializing.
Well, they're dancing very intimately, but this is a like,
Beth knew what she wanted.
Yes, I know. This is a, hey, this thing between us. Let's just do it, man. You know, and I know. Let's get to it. She
doesn't even know him enough to know who his long-term girlfriend is, if he's attached or not. Like she just has a crush on this guy she sees around.
She sees him around. They talk.
All right. I like how how sex forward she is, you know?
I agree, and I like that. It's this movie suggests like this starts with them just hooking up and having sex, but like a nice relationship can blossom out of this. You know,
It had to.
why did it?
Otherwise,
have to?
she'd be a whore.
I guess
That's not my rules.
They go up to Josh's room, and I actually think it's clear, like, okay, let's go up to the room. We're going to have sex. The movie has a kind of nice little like 30 seconds where it's got the awkward moment where like, you know, we're about to have sex, but kind of we're delaying it or we're like making small talk.
Yeah.
And she like plays the game with the camera. He has the camera because he makes videos for his long distance girlfriend. And we said the thing like where he can't get in touch with his girlfriend and he assumes like, is she pulling away from me? What's happening? Because the movie's trying to do a thing where we don't think he's a total scumbag for cheating on his girlfriend. It's a Ross from Friends situation.
Well, wait, doesn't the moment where he calls and the roommate answers and she's real shitty about him having called, doesn't that happen? She kind of implies, look, she's not returning your call. Get the hint.
Yeah.
Does that happen before?
That does happen
then
before.
Then that's why. So we also think he's being blown off.
We do, but it's like, it's a weird, like, if you were in a long-term relationship, like I had a thing like that happen with me when I was casually dating a girl, who like 4 weeks, and this happened with Hurricane Katrina in the middle of it, I couldn't get in touch with. And then I finally got in touch. She's like, hey, can I call you right back? And I was like, yeah, sure thing. I'm at my grandfather's house. Here's the phone number. And then I sat by the phone and waited for her to call, and she didn't. I didn't talk to her again until school started again. And still I was like, hey, we're still dating, right? And she's like, but that's when that can happen. Not with it'd be like if you and me suddenly stopped talking to each other on the phone.
Right.
It'd be,
you're not dead. Your grandpa's fine.
So anyway, he has sex with Amy Smart, and it's a nice little scene. But yeah, the movie is trying to walk the line of like, this guy, no, he's not a piece of shit. He doesn't mean to be cheating. And
I never think he's a piece of shit.
Yes, but I think like it's a failing of the movie that it doesn't nail down exactly who he is. Like he should be a piece of shit. You said Ryan Reynolds, and like, yeah, if this was Ryan Reynolds, he might have a little edge to him. We might think you're kind of a bad guy. And
I'm sure this is just because of the time it was made, but it's like once he agrees and really quickly to show the sex tape, and this is when our kid was like, okay, fuck him.
Yeah.
Because that very clearly is something much more a part of lives of kids now. And, you know, one generation ago even, we didn't have to really deal with this stuff. We didn't have our digital cameras waiting for us. So I think it makes sense for that generation Z. What the fuck is wrong with my mouth?
Alpha?
No, yeah, I don't know. Gen
Young
Z even.
people today.
Gen Z, just younger than us, for them to get more offended at this. So it's a weird area where I'm like, I think at the time we were supposed to be like, guys are guys.
I think so.
Yeah.
And if we hadn't said it, like they filmed themselves having sex on their first time having sex. Very bizarre.
You don't even know where everything's located. His dick could be low, butt crack high, kissing the roof of your mouth instead of in your mouth, like the right way.
Like, that's my butt crack, Beth. My face is up here. Yeah,
you get it.
I thought, like, I remembered it being like she doesn't realize it's recording. It's just hooked up to the TV. So it's like, you know, like when you're at Circuit City when you're a kid and you see the wall of TVs and you can see yourself.
No, Beth is
But
wild.
she hits the record button.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the next morning he wakes up and he's all giddy and he's like, oh, I'm giddy because I had sex. And his roommates are like, what's up with you? And he's like, I had sex. And they're like, no, you didn't.
They had sex twice and then once in the morning, but he shares a room so intimately with these guys that they're just in there when he's done showering.
I don't know
At
what
what
this
point,
I don't know what this living situation is. I don't know.
Maybe he had a sock on the door.
That had to be the case. He comes in, he's giddy. You didn't have sex, prove it. And he's like, and he gives them a sheepish look and then looks at his camera.
So sure he didn't have sex. Like he's an attractive guy who went home with an attractive girl who's into
ugly,
him.
Disgusting lame-o like you.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's got a pet snake.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's how we
his
know the living.
roommates.
See? So he's got a roommate.
Well, he like looks over at his camera and Seann William Scott's like, no, you didn't. But then Breckin Meyer does the good guy thing of like, no, you can't actually watch it. No. But they force him, but he's like not pushing back enough. So that's the thing with this character. They want you to not think he's a piece of shit, but still make piece of shit things happen because of what he does.
And his shit later with Kyle, he forces bad things to happen. There's no reason why everything had to turn out okay with Kyle's character. with Kyle the character, but he's just as big of a user and a bully as the other two.
So that's what I'm saying with Breckin Meyer is I wish they acknowledged that this character has an edge and has some menace and is not a good guy. I haven't seen The Hangover in like 10 years, but I remember Bradley Cooper being a shitty person in those movies.
It was defined.
And because it was Bradley Cooper, you're like, oh, but I still like this guy.
Yeah. No, honestly, the entire friend group is like that. All three of the cool guys are just kind of shitty, kind of using each other, and there's not like this bond or this closeness or like softness to it. They have a couple of moments, but like, yeah, this is not a friend group that you're like, you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, it's a college friend group, which I wouldn't know because I didn't have friends in college.
I didn't go to college.
I had a girlfriend.
I barely touched college, so yeah.
I don't even
remember their names.
Did you make friends the time you were there?
Yeah, that was the problem. It was nothing but partying. I was like, I'm only ever hungover. I need to get out of here because I lived on campus and you just can't escape. It was every night. And it was fun, but it was not productive.
The parties were in on-campus houses?
Like in Privateer Place, their apartments. You basically live in these like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom apartments. And they were just floated from each apartment.
I went to one party my freshman year and one party my senior year.
I've never been to a party. These were just like whoever came over that day and then let's get trashed.
Oh, okay.
But it'd be like 20 people. But I'd never, like the parties you see on college movies, I've never attended such a
the
thing.
two parties I went to were not like this. They were like 15 people or 15 to 25 people.
You didn't
but
go to
yeah,
a party.
it wasn't like, it felt like a party.
You went to a get together.
A soiree.
No, you did not.
So, okay, they're watching, he's like, no,
Such a nerd.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, you totally can't watch my sex tape. No, don't. And he presses play and the tape it's not a sex tape. It's Tom Green doing weird stuff. And they're like, wait a minute. Oh no, did we accidentally send my sex tape to my girlfriend?
Let's use all of our resources.
And as he's freaking out, as Josh is freaking out on the floor, the one funny thing I like from Tom Green in the movie, or the one time I laugh out loud at Tom Green, is he's like, did you make a copy of the tape? Because if you made a copy, we could just watch that.
Tom.
As all of this is happening, they get a phone call in the dorm room and it goes to voicemail, and it's Tiffany. She's like, hey babe, the reason I haven't been in touch recently is my grandfather died and I've been supporting my mother. That's why.
Hospitals don't have phones. My mom's house doesn't have a phone. My grandfather didn't have a phone. So
she's caught up in the emotion and the swirl of it all. But the point is, now he realizes, oh shit, she's not dumping me at all. I did cheat on my girlfriend. I am a piece of shit. So we got to take a road trip to intercept that tape. So they need Kyle, DJ Qualls, who has a car. And
DJ Qualls.
I mean, his personality is what?
I thought it was going to read as on the spectrum and I was prepared to be offended, but it's not that. This guy, he does not seem to be if I had to guess, I would not guess hard-ass military dad is your father. I wouldn't think he'd be okay with you presenting as nerdy as you do. So sheltered, homeschooled. I don't like nice, trusting, nervous. He just has a car.
He has a car. He lets them push him around. They present it as like, we're helping you. You need to take more risks. You need to be more assertive. And the way you can take a risk is by giving us what we need. And
like, how do they know him at all?
Your car. I don't know. You just know people at college. Again, I didn't, but I assume that you do when you're in college, is you have a Kyle. So they drive his car and they drive and drive and drive, rarely on an interstate because that's not cinematic. It's also hard to shut down an interstate to film. So it's always on these back roads. They have their conversation about, here are the loopholes to cheating. If you're having sex with two girls at once, it doesn't count because they cancel each other out. And then I
kind of agree with that.
You kind of agree with that.
I'm kidding. We've been married for how long?
That sounds like something you might think though.
Okay.
And then DJ Qualls is like, it's not cheating if you put peanut butter on your dick and have your dog lick it off. They're like, ooh, gross. And he's like, because it's your dog.
Right.
That's what makes it funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember saying that that'd probably be the thing I quote the most from this movie.
Yeah, that's this movie's legacy, I think. I really do, yeah. And he repeats it, because it's your dog. Yeah. So Beth, Amy Smart, comes by Josh's dorm room and she's like, hey, I just want to say thanks for the sex. But Tom Green is there and he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm looking for Josh. And he says he's in Austin, Massachusetts, because he's a dumbass and can't remember place names. And she's like, you mean Boston, Massachusetts? And he's like, yeah, he went to see his girlfriend. She's like, girlfriend, no. So she goes and talks to her lady friends who are just standing around in a room naked.
I gotta say,
yes,
their advice to just go show up. This is when Beth becomes unhinged to me. I mean, it's a very odd thing to do. How about you just wait for him to get back and then you're like, guess that one night stand was a mistake. Not let me go to your girlfriend of dozens of years, not dozens, 10 years and go tell her what you did before you can tell her. That's a little fucked up move.
It's something. I mean, yeah, it's we want to give her something to do. We want funny stuff to happen. But yes, it is a ridiculous reaction.
Beth is a person of extremes. I mean, really, when we really break it down, we do not see a person making decisions that make sense. Tape the first time you've had sex before you even know him. Get one tiny bit of proof that he does not have a girlfriend, which is when you're already in the room to have the sex, and then show up to a college miles away.
You're right, but Amy Smart isn't playing her that way. She's playing her as like a very reasonable person, but the things she does are not reasonable.
They're not, and everyone around her plays it as reasonable too. Lady on the bus, the friends giving the advice, the way that the other guys talk about her. She's an angel. You'd be crazy not to be with her. What are you doing? It's like,
yeah, there's the scene where all the women are standing around naked talking to her and giving her advice like, man, they're such pigs. You know what you should do is go to Boston. And then it cuts away to Tom Green giving the tour, and the people who are listening to the tour are like, women don't just stand around naked. And he's like, yes, they do. They're all in my story and they're all just standing around naked. So we go back and we see all the naked women. There is an unrated cut of this movie whose only difference between it and the theatrical is there's 10 extra seconds where the woman who's talking to Amy Smart is like, oh man, they're such pigs. Can you imagine what the world would be like if they had their way? And as she's saying this, the camera is zooming in on her boobs. That's the difference. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's the movie acknowledging like, oh, this movie's for the fellas.
Yep.
But you know, it's nudity in movies is great. So this is okay. And
Yay.
the joke is there's no even pretense about why. Like, it's not like they're in a locker room. This isn't after a game. They're literally just standing around being naked together, which Lacey led me to believe was actually a thing, but this movie is saying is not a thing. So I don't know what to believe.
There's a difference between being naked in front of each other and standing around to be naked in front of each other.
Okay. So it's
I definitely grew up in a family that changes clothes in front of each other or goes into the dressing room together, boobs, butt, all the stuff. But there's always a reason, Matt. We don't just go, okay, well, we're at Sheila's. Let's,
no.
How's everyone's boobs today? No, Matt, no.
Don't lecture me.
No, Matt.
Say my name.
Drop it. Say my name.
They're out on the road and they're on a back road supposedly to save a lot of time. We're going to save 5 hours on. Am I boring you?
This is my yawning time.
They're supposedly going to save 5 hours on this road, but they get to a rickety bridge that is out, and they decide very hastily they're just going to jump it because Paulo Costanzo, what's his character's name? Ruben is like, I know physics and I'm super smart about everything, and I know that if you drive at this rate of the velocity of the terminal velocity is going to get us there within. So they do it. I like how casually they're all being about it, except for Kyle. He's like, no, my dad won't kill me. But they do it. They successfully do it. They land, and then the car breaks.
I always think about, like, if we're even accounting for our weight, like if even our weight matters in this equation, what if just everyone except for the driver goes across just go across the shallow creek and not be a factor?
Yeah, and then, the three of us can not risk being killed.
That's why, because no one would want to drive the car.
Oh, okay.
And you don't get the you don't get that one.
They have to walk to a nearby town, which is run by which has a shady motel, by a shady motel clerk. Yes, Lacey.
They make it across the bridge, but the
car breaks.
Tires.
I said that.
I was in a different place mentally.
And then it explodes. Yeah, so they go to a motel run by Andy Dick. Andy Dick is also in Old School, where he plays a gay guy who teaches the wives of the movie how to give a blowjob.
Oh, yeah.
We check in with... What?
Just like when we say stuff that we're going to cut out and then we come back casually as if no time had passed.
Yeah, so we're talking about road trip. And the Beth, Amy Smart, is on the bus. She's heading to Boston. We also check in with Kyle's dad for the first time, played by Fred Ward. He's a very stern and scary man. And he learns his credit card has been maxed out and is being used all up and down the East Coast. So they need a new form of transportation. What are they going to do? Well, E.L., Seann William Scott, he goes to a school for the blind and meets a blind woman played by Mary Lynn Rice Cub, and he cons her into giving him a bus. I guess here's one thing I like, and I do like this movie, and one of the things I like about it is just how many just like comedy people would just play one scene roles, like Mary Lynn Rice Cub here, like
the waiter here.
Horatio Sands at the diner plays the waiter who puts
so disgusting
DJ Qualls' French toast in his asshole.
I'm all in until the hair. Just when I can see the hair on the butt, I'm like, no, there's gonna be hair on it.
Well, it's you are freaked out by hair on food. I mean, and you will yell at everyone in the room if there's a danger of
if they waft something, if they quaff or waft anything like a blanket near my food. Because if it happens, if it enters my mouth, I will be throwing away the entire thing that I'm eating.
People, if you are ever eating with Lacey, if you have the privilege, and it is a privilege, of eating with Lacey, and this happens, and she starts yelling, you might think at first she's kidding. She's never more serious than when she's yelling about hair getting in her food.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not even religious. This is really upsetting me. I had to do the sign of the Satan.
So, but what's funny about the French toast is, here's what's funny about it.
It's still good.
Is that DJ Qualls eats it and just smiles and is like, this is good. And then that's it. That's the end of the joke.
I appreciate the movie for that. Yes. I don't need the cum-filled freaking Danish.
The instinct is good for him not to be like,
exactly.
This tastes like butthole.
Right. It's just because it's your dog. Like he understands how to deliver this.
Back at college, Barry is trying to get the snake to eat the mouse, but he can't. We had the same problem with the snake that we briefly owned.
Flashbacks. But he's already kind of a wraparound story, or he's an interstitial story. He's the parts I do not fucking care about, and then you also give him other parts to do that I don't care about.
Yeah, he's already a Greek chorus in a way, but
exactly.
But he's affecting the plot because he's sending Amy Smart on her missions.
A note on the door could have done the same, like a weird A that looks like a Boston instead of an Austin. You know how the rest of the words spelled the same. Shut up, Matt. Go on.
She gets to the University of Boston. She finds out, I'm here for Tiffany Henderson. They're like, yeah, right this way, ma'am. Tiffany Henderson's in this sorority house. And she goes, Tiffany Henderson, you have a boyfriend, right? And she's like, yes, he's cheating on you. And then we cut to her smashing her boyfriend's car. And Amy Smart's like, oh my, this is extreme. And then her boyfriend shows up and she's like, wait a minute, that's your boyfriend? But then she doesn't intervene and she doesn't say like, hey, sorry, this is a misunderstanding. You're not the person I thought you were.
So then that's when you know she's a bad fuck. I mean, I know it's just they don't want to cause yet another scene. We don't need to now put Beth in danger or whatever. But it does. She's shitty for doing that. I
would leave too.
And you're shitty.
And then she's on the bus and she's asleep and this guy played by Todd Phillips is about to suck on her toes. And then she wakes up.
That's Todd Phillips?
Yeah. So you know that he wrote that in for himself. He's like, I want to play the toe sucker.
Fucking nasty. He has always disturbed me. There's many disturbing people in this movie. He's the one that actually makes me feel like he means it. I love that that's him.
Mm-hmm. That's him.
And he actually does make contact.
And he directed The Joker, the Crown Prince of Crime. There's nothing more fucked up than the Joker, except maybe Todd Phillips. And she's
giving
like,
himself that hair.
Are there any normal guys in the world? They arrive at an all-black fraternity in Tennessee.
Indeed, they do, Matt. And you can tell right away that there's something up with Ruben trying to get away with doing the handshake. There's just a knowing look in the guy's face who answers the door, and they do the handshake and they convince him that he's a brother. Convince him, and then they walk into the mess hall. Where are they?
This is a giant compound.
They live at a nunnery or fucking Hogwarts. I don't know. And they go in there if everyone's dining and record scratch. Everyone's black. Oh, now they know. They know you're not black, Ruben. And this is all. But don't worry. This is not the first time this has happened. They've got a perfectly hilarious prank they're going to play on you guys. So everyone sit down and eat. Let your guard down. And we're going to find a Klan mask, a Klan hood in one of your backs. backpack bags on your bags. And it is our friend DJ's, and he faints, but don't worry, he wakes up, and it was a cool joke.
Well, can I say this? I don't like pranks. But I think this one's a funny prank.
Fucking good. Yeah. I mean, and I like that they have a set one for this occasion.
Yes, that's why. And just the idea, why would you be walking around with a Klan hood in your
Why would anyone?
In your duffel bag?
Right. And I thought all your bags exploded.
Yeah.
No. And
he's
then,
like, that's not Mom.
Don't worry though, to cheer him up, there's a beer party. And I like that he is not good at there's guys doing a step dance and to rock around the clock. Or it's tricky.
Rock around. 1, 2, 3, clock, rock.
Traditional. So I like that he gets up there and he does the whitest thing possible after jumping around and trying to kind of like, I don't like that he interrupts the dance. I mean, they obviously practiced for this reason. They're kind of fucking up the song, but they're gracious. They back up and let you do yours, and you do a river dance. And I think that is fun that he busts out the most white thing. But that's when his future girlfriend sees him and thinks that is the most adorable shit I've ever seen in my life. And they
have a little conversation on a swing
about how it's okay to be a virgin and that she thinks it's cute. And that they could have just been a nice fucking scene, but they have to like, look, oh, she's big. She's making the swing go down.
Because she doesn't read as fat.
She doesn't.
So you have to do stuff like that because that's the only joke. Otherwise, this is just sweet.
Well, what?
And like a nice thing that happens for him and for her because they go and they have sex. And as I said earlier, it's hot. When I was 14 years old, I was like, this is what's going to happen to me one day. And, next day he's a new man. He's walking with a spring in his step. And then they're on the bus and they're like, come on, Kyle, tell us. And he's like, I fucked her.
No, I boinked her. Which
he does say, I boinked her. And look, she gave me her underwear.
Did you skin a cheetah? And then he smells them and they all go, ah! Like, okay.
But I think we said this already. Then he just smiles and he's not embarrassed and he likes it. And now he has this nice memory.
It's just a terrible juxtaposition that just one scene earlier, Elizabeth Smart's getting her toe sucked. And that's not
Amy Smart.
That's exactly what I said. Is getting her foot licked because she's so hot. And this woman can't have her underwear sniffed. It's just, fuck you, movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you can't do fat humor.
It's just you're punching down in more than one way.
This is like the only joke here is she's fat.
And she's black. I think that's part of
too,
it.
Yes.
I mean, like they crash their party. They make a funny joke, but they totally are accepting. And these are the only black people in the entire movie. And then she's made a joke, and she's made a joke all the way to the end. Because I think it's nice that they end up boyfriend and girlfriend, but she grabs the dad. Hi, Dad. And she's wearing braces and that's silly. And I don't know. They just, it is amazing how that none of us saw it this way. That's so few years ago and it's so normal and just what it must have been like.
I don't know that nobody saw it that way.
No, I mean, black people did, but it wasn't talked about. It wasn't, obviously it wasn't. Just it's nice to see how far we've come, but it also sucks to watch.
They realize they're running out of money. They need money, so they're going to go to a sperm bank.
And we need something sexual to do because it's been 10 minutes. So
that's the kind of comedy this is.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it. And so one by one, they're ruled out because of their sexual activity or their drug usage. So it's just up to Seann William Booth and fucking Breckin Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, to splooge in a cup because I guess they get tons of money for this. Have you ever tried this?
Have I tried a sperm bank?
But didn't Patrick?
No, Lacey, here's what you're thinking of.
What?
I wrote a novel called Generation Y,
yes,
available now on Amazon from 2012.
That is what I'm thinking.
And the character who is based on Patrick, his name is Ivan. Patrick had some dirtbag days. It was the kind of thing he might have tried. But so I did a ton of research on sperm banks to see how they worked, and I learned a lot. And it was like,
is it like $70?
My entire knowledge of sperm banks came from this movie, and so it was like, you really immediately realize like, okay, it doesn't work like this. It's not like you go and you jack off and they give you money. It's like you have to return like every 2 days for months before they pay you.
What?
And it's like you can't ejaculate any other time. That's so you can't have sex. So it's like you have to be celibate during this time. It's you have to be regimented and on a schedule. You have to be on a specific diet.
Fucking parole.
Yeah, it's like it's not exactly easy money.
Well, and what is the money though?
I'm sure it was
a couple hundred.
You'd get like a couple $100s, yes.
Fuck.
But they go in and Seann William Scott to the hot nurse is like, "Excuse me, ma'am, you think you could give me some assistance?"
They're like, "Is there something between us?" Like, okay, only a hot guy can do this. This is crazy. She works at a sperm bank.
She's gonna have her revenge though, because she goes into the room with him and she's like,
"Is it revenge?"
And he thinks she's about to give him a hand job. Instead, she sticks some fingers up his ass and massages his prostate.
Gives him the best orgasm of his life.
And he goes, "Oh!
Stop, keep going.
And then she leaves and he's like, "That was awesome."
He's awakened.
So, and it's kind of hot. So after
Works
that,
for me.
After that, they're rocking out to "I Wanna Rock" by Twisted Sister. Truly
Still my favorite scene.
Why?
They're gelling. They're all having a good time. It's a nerdy song for them to all know, and they all know it.
Yeah.
And I think it's cute. It's like finding out all your friends like Kiss. It wasn't cool to like Kiss no matter when you like them. Or it's a type of person.
In fact, I'd say there's no kind of person who would know Twisted Sister in 2000.
Exactly. So the fact that they all knew it was all a song from their childhood probably, and they all know every fucking word. It's just like, okay,
even when I watched this movie as a 13-year-old, I was like, this is the most famous song this movie could afford, which is not.
Wait,
so Twist
but
is
they did
not even "We're Not Gonna Take It." It's "I Wanna Rock." But yeah, it's fun.
You don't think
it's
it costs
charming.
money? I guess because of how many movies the Tricky song is in, it probably isn't that expensive of a song.
No, I'm sure they paid for that one, and their music budget is only this much. So how much are we going to allocate for the song that they rock out to? Can we afford Detroit Rock City? No. Can we afford?
It's effective.
I don't know. Surrender by Cheap Trick? No.
Okay.
But I can't imagine this movie with any other song but "I Wanna Rock."
God, yes.
Turn it down your straight. Well, nobody knows those words, but all I gotta say to me is when no.
Exactly.
But they all know every word.
And they all knew when to take what verse.
Yeah.
Like they'd done it more than once.
That's a plot hole.
Oh.
Drive that bus through that plot hole. They're gonna stop at Barry's grandparents' house, naturally, and they find out Barry's last name is Manilow. That's silly.
Do we need that joke?
And the funny thing about this grandfather is he's watching like
Give it to me, baby.
Is that what he's watching?
No, it's shoot. And he's
watching like the Hooters channel. Or
no,
something.
he's watching MTV, but it's also what the guy at the motel is watching as well. So yeah.
Oh, the connective tissue. This is a rich world. It's like, we're so divided, but there's these things that link us.
Well, it's also a real song, so they would have had to pay for that footage of that song, and so why not use it both places?
Oh, that's a good point. But I like this is a rich tapestry. We're all connected. We're one organism. The tentacles were like a big jellyfish. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as he's watching this, then he stands up and he has this giant boner and he knocks over
and that's the other quote. That's the other quote that I still say. What do you want me to do? Cut it off?
Yeah.
That's the other
quote. That's kind of funny. Now I remembered Anchorman being the first movie where I ever saw a boner just on screen. But no, this was 4 years earlier. Huh.
Ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And an impressive boner. Not bad.
Truly.
You knocked over an angel with that one, and Beth is an angel.
So after all this, they finally arrive in Austin. Austin, Texas. What a town. We've been there. What do you remember about Austin?
That we were pushing your book, which is weird because we just talked about your book.
Yeah, our mission was to go all over. It was just an excuse to go to Austin.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to go, and we had fun.
It was cool.
We went to some bars, and then we stopped at Barnes and Nobles.
I got a T-shirt thrown at me.
In between New Orleans and Austin, we stopped at Barnes and Nobles that we saw and dropped off bookmarks.
Why would a Barnes and Noble need bookmarks? I thought we just did it at colleges.
No, we did it at we did it at bookstores. We go and be like,
why didn't we go to libraries where college kids
we were dumb. I think we did try some stuff like that. We went to the University of Texas campus and went into their bookstore.
I know.
Okay.
I was there. I remember. That's the only reason why I know that there's a Texas school.
There's a school in Texas. Yes.
They fit one in.
And we dropped off these bookmarks. And we're like, do you want some bookmarks? And most people, people were generally receptive. Like, yeah, okay. And I'm sure they threw them away. But I still have about 4,000 of those bookmarks. And Okay, so they get to Austin and they go to the school and they go to the mail clerk and they're like, we need Tiffany's mail. And he's like, you can't have it, motherfucker. And then they get into a physical brawl. And then Kyle's dad shows up and he's like, what's going on here? And he pulls out a gun for some reason. And then the cops show up and this is just like a big brouhaha. But what happens? How does it all resolve?
I don't fucking know. Somehow he sneaks away with Tiffany because she walks in.
And she's like, Josh, what are you doing?
And then the gun gets pulled on her, which is hilarious.
It is. So they go up to her dorm room and they start having a conversation. And she's saying things that suggest like she's actually about to break up with you. She's like, we're in college. We are in this long distance relationship. Our time where she echoes what Seann William Scott said earlier. Like your time to be in college and experiment and meaning have a lot of sex is running rapidly out.
And then she talks about how she's practically only been with him. And he's like, what do you mean practically? She's like, well, 14. And I was like, whatever camp. And she's like, different area codes. So she's got a lot in common with that EL guy.
She really does. Again, one organism, one tentacle, one jellyfish. I had a girlfriend all throughout college, 4 years of college. And so I was a Josh. And like, yeah, she's right. It's not a good idea to be in a long-term relationship. And I mean, obviously there's all kinds of different people and all kinds of different things work out for different people. But that to both me and the person who was my girlfriend, it was like a socially constraining thing because we were both like sort of introverted people who were like, I don't need to go meet people. I can just talk to my girlfriend / my boyfriend.
Which is exactly why you guys had the relationship to begin with, is so that you didn't have to actually feel like a loser or go out there and explore, and actually you were scared to be away from home, and this is how you coped with it. And that's why she immediately broke up with you as soon as you were out of that fucking school.
That's a story for another day.
Is it?
And people would always be like, oh, you're going to make friends in college. And I was like, one day it's going to happen.
It's coming. Where's the friendship banquet?
Any day now.
If we were to get sorted by a hat, then...
But especially long distance things. I mean, what's the they have that term for like if you go off to college and you still are with your high school relationship. It's called like a Thanksgiving relationship. It's like you're going to stay together until Thanksgiving of the next year when you both come home or something. And
kind of been cheating a little bit.
Something, and then you come home and you see each other for the first time since the summer and you realize like, all right, we don't need to be doing this anymore. Anyway, what I'm saying is don't be in a relationship, but all the people who listen to this are young little TikTokers and according to Fox News, they're not even interested in sex. So
that doesn't mean they're not interested in relationships, Matt. Those are
the same things, I think.
They are not.
Every generation is worried that the next generation is either having too much sex or not enough. And it seems like we're in a cycle where people are worried that the next generation is not having enough sex.
I didn't know that was also. Oh, sure. I knew the too much, of course. But like, when was the last time not enough? After the war?
I think, I don't remember the exact time.
So the great generation
it was probably between the wars.
So that'd be the great generation was worried the boomers weren't going to have enough sex. And then they boomed.
Yeah. And it's tied into birth rate stuff, but also like people are like, we had fun, we knew what to do, we knew how to have fun, and you kids are such prudes. It's just a thing that's always happening, and that's why my general attitude has always been like, people are always kind of just the same. They're always exactly as horny and exactly as reckless as their parents. Anyway, Josh and Tiffany decide to break up but remain best friends, totally unearned. And then what happens?
Well, then we need another issue because Beth, and another fucking freak ass idea. You just ruined a relationship of a Tiffany Henderson that you didn't mean to ruin a relationship of. So you make the move of calling Josh at Tiffany's fucking room while you don't know what they're doing, but you call him there. You could potentially be fucking up that too. Whatever, Beth. But it's because she's an angel, and she needs to let him know that stalker weirdo guy pretended that he has time to get to his midterm, but he only has 3 days. Like, I thought you had 3 days when you started this. How many fucking days have you been gone? Or 42 hours, whatever. So maybe it's 2 days. So now he's got to get in that bus and get back to Ithaca faster than he got to Austin. And don't worry, you're packing a genius with you. So Ruben is going to teach you about Socrates. All he has to do is find a way to relate it to something you already know, idiot, like Vince McMahon.
And he says,
And it works.
And he's like, Socrates is like Vince McMahon. He started it all. And I can think of every wrestling fan in the world watching this being like, what the fuck did he just say?
He stole it all. He's monopolized a piece of shit.
Vince McMahon started it all.
Oh my God. Okay. And then
there's a 6-hour Netflix documentary that came out today about Vince McMahon that I'm kind of excited to watch because
I'm going to watch that.
He is
I'm going to watch that.
I mean, he's already in deep trouble, maybe going to go to prison forever, but he ahead of the
Tell me it's tax evasion.
Oh, you don't know.
I don't know.
Oh no, horrendous sexual assault, a lawsuit against him, like with tons of details and text messages about like sex trafficking of these women that he would employ, and this specific woman who he did unspeakably bad things. Look it up if you don't know.
When did all this start to trickle out? Oh, I guess don't tell me trickle, tell me bombshell.
It did kind of trickle until the lawsuit, which I believe was at the beginning of this year.
Oh,
and it was at that point he then resigned and resigned from the company.
And maybe I kind of knew because I mean, when was I reading that book?
That was about it. That was at the beginning of 2023, and we learned about the lawsuit, but didn't learn the details for another like that. We learned about the lawsuit, and that's when he stepped away for the first time. But then the text of the lawsuit came out a year later, and that's when it went into full. You're like Harvey Weinstein level villain.
Wow. Okay.
And this documentary series started with his participation and started before all this stuff came out. And then it looks like the documentarians totally pivoted.
And
now he's disowned it. I don't know if it's going to be any good. People by now hearing this have probably seen it if they're interested and can say whether or not it's good, does service to his victims, et cetera, but I'm kind of interested in watching it.
What's it called?
Mr. McMahon, I think.
Okay. And now Josh gets to campus and he's just in time to witness the next crazy fucking thing Beth has done. But this one obviously read as cool whenever I watched the movie. Like, oh yeah, I want to be the kind of girl that calls in a bomb threat. She calls in a bomb threat, gives him just enough time to get there to do his midterm. And this obviously was before 9/11, so you could still put this in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
post Columbine though, like it's a little weird. But that's just kind of the fucked up guy that Todd Phillips is, you know?
Beth is unhinged.
She is, you're right. You're right. It is so weird the way Amy Smart plays her as like a very normal and reasonable person. Like, you like
it's not just her. It's like everyone around her.
You like what I did? Like she should be like Harley Quinn, but she's...
Right. That's the move she's making. But everyone around her is like their pants are charmed off. Men, women, children. She can do no wrong. And I think she's shaped weird.
You are so mean.
She's beautiful, though.
You are so mean to women.
She's super beautiful, though. She's got a weird torso. It doesn't quit.
What does that mean?
Very long torso.
You were so angry at the girl from Friday the 13th Part 2 for not having a butt. You're like, I felt so bad for her till I saw her butt, and then I realized Jason can kill her.
Get fucked.
Fucked.
Put your poop underwear on and go to hell.
So he's just like, wait a minute, I'm going to miss my exam. Wait, a bomb robot. And he's like, philosophy? Anyway, then he takes his exam and he passes. And then we find out everything works out. Ruben invents a great strain of weed. EL starts dating a woman who can give him a prostate massage properly. I
like movies that do that. I know it's a trope, but I love when movies tell you the where are they now stuff. And especially when it's like way in the future, like Sandlot.
I think it's an homage to Animal House because of the Ivan Reitman thing. Maybe not. I don't know.
It's a lot of coming of age movies do it.
Yeah, and Kyle, he's dating Heather, I believe is her name.
I don't remember
the black woman who has braces, and
she doesn't have braces when they meet each other.
So what's the point of that?
I don't know.
What is the joke there?
It's again to make her look silly.
It is.
Yes, it's to undermine her and her because she's gorgeous from here up, and they're at the door. They don't have time to make a fat joke. They have to do something to her. Braces. And make her grab the dad like she's about to fuck his head.
Well, but that's the joke on the dad. He's like, what?
The braces are a joke on her. They just can't be nice to her.
No, you're right.
Or him.
So that's Road Trip. What a trip it's been.